that, the morning after you promise someone that you're going to do a review for their channel and you go and lose 6-0. That's what's happening right now. My name is James Alcott. I am a presenter for Ball Street. And you guys should go and subscribe to that because I deserve that, because this is going to be painful and you're going to be laughing your heads off. So, QPR versus Newcastle, the worst defeat in our history. Not the first 6-0 I've been to as a QPR fan, so that shows that these things do happen against decent teams or a mid-table Premier League team in Fulham if you're QPR. Went to the game, quite excited to see Newcastle and how they were going to play. They've obviously got a lot of money from coming down, spent a lot of money, got rid of those big hitters, but in the players that you've brought in a team that reminded me of last season's Hull. You looked bigger than us, stronger than us, smarter than us, and I mean that's shown in the scoreline. And let's be honest, for anyone who watched the game, it could have been a lot more. I was worried the first 5 or so minutes. I thought we sort of took the fight to you a little bit. We looked to get the ball forward, looked to get the ball to our best players, Cherry, who we're going to be very reliant on this season, so I'm slightly worried about how that's going to work out for us. But ultimately, you guys looked quite settled early on. And what I was really impressed about Newcastle was, firstly, the names that you've got there. They are Premier League players. They might not have behaved like it last year, but that's, I think, probably where the shock came from a round football as to why you guys went down. And if you'd got Benitez in a bit earlier, then it might have been all right. The big thing that shone for me was the balance of the side and how big you made the pitch. The reason you were able to make the pitch so big, in my opinion, was because of those two central midfielders in Shelvey and Hayden, in particular Shelvey, who was always going to score a goal. After about 5 or so minutes, he'd had about 2 shots. And, you know, he loves those long-range strikes and scored an absolute worldie. But his overall play as well, he's a player who he could play for Newcastle for 10, 15 years and just sit there and ping the ball about. Because what you had there, and this is what allowed you to make the pitch so big, was the fact that those two guys were safe on the ball. You could let them have it because you knew they weren't going to give it away. So then Richie, you could see going as wide as he could when the ball's on one side, and is it Ayoze Perez on the other side. Was getting incredibly wide to make that pitch stupidly wide. You then got a beast in Mitrovic at that level, playing up front. We had Grant Hall and Stephen Coulter, who are 2 good centre-backs at this level and will be a good partnership. And bizarrely, in a 6-0 defeat, actually did all right. Worked incredibly hard, but Mitrovic is going to bully a lot of centre-backs in this division. And this is another thing that in Championship football, you need some big guys to get yourself give yourself a chance, and all over the pitch. Mitrovic is huge, Hayden huge, Shelvey huge, the back 4 are massive. You had Clark playing left back at one point, so you had a lot of big guys. So defensively, our only hope was, once it got to 4-0, was probably a set piece. But we played a small team, that was epitomised by Connor Washington up front, and you guys had so many big guys that you were going to eat up all those balls into the box when we did get those few opportunities to put you guys under pressure. Going through your team, I thought the goalkeeper was, sound, didn't have anything to do. Lascelles looks good, he looks like a leader. Ayoze Perez, he was far too good, and he is far too good for the Championship. I wonder if he's actually that good in terms of being in the Premier League, but what he did get was space because, as I say, Benitez set you up in a way that gave you so much space because you made the pitch so big. So our left back struggled to deal with him because he is a player who's willing to go past someone. So he was impressive as well. Obviously I think he got a goal. Forgive me if he didn't, there's quite a few. But Shelvey was the main man for me, and I think as a QPR fan, I've seen QPR go up, I've seen us go down from the Premier League, I've seen us go down to League One, and you can kind of get a taste in the first few games of where we're at, because I've seen squads who've gone on to get us up, and also teams that just ended up being mid-table. And with Newcastle, you've got a team there that is going to win the league. It is. It has to. If you think of the strength and depth you have as well coming off the bench. Gouffran, that was the other player who was staying out wide, not Perez. Who again, didn't do too much, but again was just of a high quality, which allows you guys to play the ball quickly, to move it quickly and to move it forward quickly, and it makes teams scared. QPR are a very mid-table team this year. We haven't got any of those names that we used to have, and the worrying thing for us was that in the transfer window, we've signed quite a few players who people don't know anything about. And although you want hungry players, which we've got a lot of endeavour. We lack a lot of quality, and that showed yesterday. And once I think the second one went in, we were scared, and there were only a couple of people standing up. And the lack of quality showed big time in the end. As I say, Newcastle, I think, will easily go up this year. And if I had one message to Newcastle fans, it would be to enjoy it. And it's in particular, enjoy this period now between, what are we in, September to December, because after that it might get a little bit nervy because you're trying to get there and you're trying to grind out wins, but you're going to batter some teams. It's not just going to be QPR this season. You'll get a few 5-0s, a lot of 4-0s, and God knows you could get anything else as well, because you make the pitch so big, and Benitez is a class manager. So enjoy it, because as we both know, when you go up, it's not as easy and you don't win as many games. So, and hopefully for you guys, you'll go up and you won't go down again. So that was brutal. The game yesterday was brutal. If you can do anything for me, then it would be go listen to Great Touch from a Big Lad, which is my podcast, which I do with a Stoke fan, a Chelsea fan, and a Brentford fan. We talk about all things football. And go head over to Ball Street and subscribe to us as well, because we're real fans. Make football content that is genuine and authentic, and people don't just say stuff because they have to. They say it because they've been to the game. So go head over and check that out as well. I look forward to the away leg.